I'm here with Steve, CTO of EAS, and maybe Steve, would you be open to talking a little bit about how you got to where you are right now?
Sure, yeah.
All right.
So EAS, like I was super really interested in like solving decentralized identity and reputation for like a really long period of time, and like even since the kind of the beginning and founding of Ethereum, I was always interested in like how you can decentralize more than just money and assets. And 9 years later, like still we haven't really decentralized everything else. We've decentralized a lot more assets, but we haven't really brought the rest of like Web 2 to Web 3. And so I was really interested in like how can you really solve decentralized identity and reputation. And I wanted to build something in that space. And I noticed that like all the platforms that existed around identity and reputation, they were all like mostly like these like kind of glorified KYC platforms, or just like they've kind of like assumed something about like identity. They kind of like allow you to do something with some aspect of identity, but it doesn't really cover all of the identity. And I think it's because identity is super complex, and so like if you try to kind of put it in a box, you won't be able to capture all the aspects of it. And I think that's why most of these identity platforms don't ever really get adopted. And the more of them, like the more fragmented the ecosystem gets. And if we want to have like decentralized identity and reputation, we can't all be speaking like completely different languages, right? We need one kind of protocol. And so I noticed none of these platforms were really solving identity, so I started asking myself like, well, what is identity? Like actually, in like the philosophical sense. And I started thinking, well, at some point I had no identity, and then I had an identity, and I started thinking, well, when was that? And then I realized, like, actually, when I was born, my mom named me Steven, right? You can say that she attested to my name, right? And then I went to school, and the teachers, they attested to my grades, right? And kids in the class, they could have attested to whether or not they liked me or not, right? And then the government attested to my passport and my driver's license. The university attested to my diploma, and my employer could have attested to my employment, or even if I'm a good employer or not. And so like I recognized actually you can pretty elegantly represent something so complex as identity and reputation as an aggregate of attestations. And then I realized like you can't just solve this problem by building an identity platform or a reputation platform. You have to start with a base layer where any entity can just attest about anything, essentially say anything in a structured way using digital signatures. And so I realized like so many people now, because of the NFT craze, the ICO craze, that have these, are empowered with these like crypto wallets that they are in control of, and now they can attest easily. So EAS is kind of like the new digital credential that's made for blockchain first. You sign attestations using your Ethereum wallet. You can do them on-chain or off-chain. And we built it in such a way where we presuppose as little as possible in order for you to be able to build kind of like infinite complex things without any kind of limitation. And so yeah, that's EAS. It's a public good. It's free to use. It will never have money. It will never cost money. It's like email. If email was permissioned or run by a company, there'd probably be like 10 different email platforms.
One thing I thought was really cool with EAS was how you can visualize someone's identity with kind of the bubbles and like connections and stuff. Maybe what implications does that kind of thing have?
Yeah, so like the most interesting thing I think that you can do with these types of systems is you can build these relative trust graphs where one of the things people have been scared about is this kind of like Black Mirror score, like where the government or some entity scores different people and that's just their global score. That's not that actually is not, that doesn't drive with reality, because in reality, if I have a friend, for example, and the government scores him whatever, I'm not going to score him like that. I have different trust assumptions based on my own network. And so like using EAS attestations, you can start to build a relative kind of trust graph. So imagine I trust I attest that I trust my friend, and my friend now goes to someone else who I know, but that guy doesn't know my friend. He can show him that attestation, and now he has like he can kind of sort of trust that guy a little bit more because I've trusted him, you know. And so like. In the real world, we do this all the time. We like vouch for people and stuff. But after, like, you know, like if you need a plumber, you know, you ask your friends, like, who's a good plumber. The thing is, like, once you go like 1 or 2 hops away, like it's impossible to keep track of people that far. So like you use something like Google Maps and you get like global recommendations, right? Well, not from people that you trust, but imagine that you're able to get you're able to get like attestations from people that you trust and people that they trust from your own network. So I imagine the future, you know, you create your wallet and you can set weights. Like, you trust this person this much, you trust this person this much. I distrust this person this much. You know, and ultimately when you look at if a bunch of people do this, anywhere you look in the network, you should be able to derive some value from any entity. And so like, even 5 hops away, like even if like 10 people that you know somehow know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that they all somehow trusted this one guy, that person might have some high weight, even though none of my friends actually know that guy.
So cool. Thanks, Steve, for going through that with me, and appreciate you going on the video.
No worries.